Perhaps one of the most famous movies ever made in Hollywood was one created back in the early 30s during the end of the Depression. And the two of the people that were very important in the creation of this movie that has made millions of dollars are here as our guests today. Seated in the center here is Brigadier General Merian C. Cooper. It's a pleasure to have you with us today, General. And over there, one of the stars of the picture who very graciously decided to come down and visit with us this afternoon, Wray. I've seen you so many times on television, but now it's good to have you here in person.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
King Kong opened in, 1933, wasn't it, General?
It opened on March 2nd, 1933 in the Music Hall in New York, the day the banks closed.
Here's one of the ads that ran at that time. Nobody had any money, but this is what the ad said. Now, General Cooper, you produced, wrote, and put the whole thing together, didn't you?
Well, I thought up the original idea about 2 years before I came out to RKO in New York. And then I started the picture, and then my partner, Showtak, came in and helped me co-direct it. So I wrote the original. Ruth Rose wrote the script, Showtak's wife.
Now, you have many things to your credit. Besides the motion picture business, you were on the founding board. You almost founded Pan American Airways and Western Airlines. That's what they tell me.
Well, I was on the board of directors of both Pan American and Western and North American Aviation and a lot of other air companies, yes.
And an author, and you served in the military during World War I and World War II.
That's correct.
But today we're most interested in what you contributed to the film industry, and you were the recipient of an award from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences for on 6 different times innovations to the motion picture business, and one of them was King Kong. It was the first science fiction motion picture, and it used miniature projection. Now, what do they mean by that?
Well, it's a little difficult to explain quickly, but you take a full-size set, like you'd take the 3 of us, then you build a miniature set, then throw a little miniature screen inside of that. And then I'd take a little thing like King Kong, who was actually 18 inches high, and play him against real people. That's how I got his scale.
Ladies and gentlemen, I handled this most carefully because this is the original King Kong that was used in the movie. Made of sponge rubber, wasn't it?
Yes,
the second time I've ever seen it.
Is that right?
Yes, and I've always thought it was bigger than that, you know.
Maybe, Faye, you'd like to
Oh, well,
it
it's the first time on
on
my knee at last.
It is sort of disintegrating now.
Yes,
Our viewers are wondering how you made it possible in the movie for it to look as if Faye was being held by the monkey or the
Well,
ape.
it would take me 2 hours to do it, but I personally invented 7 processes, and really that was Sir Brian who worked with me, who I think was the best trick man who ever lived. He invented 4 others, and we did the face, as far as I know, true aerial perspective. We did the combination of dunning and miniature projection and live sets, a lot of things. Right on this lot that we're now working on, I did the first rear projection ever made in RKO. It was made with Faye Ray up the tree. It's the first one ever on this lot.
But it wasn't actually then this dummy here that held you in the movie, Faye.
No, obviously, no, the proportion wouldn't be quite right. They had a huge arm, sufficiently large to hold me.
And by switching back and forth between the huge arm that held you and this, they got the idea that it was
I never
this one?
switched back and forth, or very rarely. I did another kind of process, which really it's too technical to understand.
Never be known. Keep it secret.
I had a full-size arm, 1 full-size leg, and I had a head with 3 men inside of it. I never used a man inside of King Kong itself. Obviously, it would look phony.
What did the men do inside the head? Work the eyes and the mouth?
One worked the mouth, one worked the eyes, and one worked the cheekbones and ears.
One served coffee.
No, I served coffee to Kong.
We have a little bit of a film clip here to show you first. It's a picture or a shot of you, Miss Ray, in the picture, which, by the way, is going to be seen this Saturday at 5 on Channel 9.
Yes, well, there's a story about that. I hope you tell.
Right, you tell it. And then we will show it. First, we're going to show this little clip right here. Now, you boys ready to show that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Take a look at Miss Ray in the movie, 1933.
Frank, you look up slowly. You're quite calm. You don't expect to see a thing. Then you just follow my direction.
Yeah.
All right? Camera. Look up slowly, Ed. That's it. You don't see anything. Now look higher. Still higher. Now you see it.
Where is he now?
You're amazed. You can't believe it.
Bob,
Your eyes
he
open.
lives here in Brentwood.
That was a scene of you, Faye Ray, with Bob Armstrong. And may I say, and looking at you in our monitor there now, that that you are just as lovely, and
Oh,
beautiful now as you were
thank
then.
you,
Really.
thank you.
Just marvelous. I think
Oh,
the General
very
would agree
sweet.
with me, too. In a few seconds, we're going to show you some more film clip of King Kong in the movie. Now, you wanted me to mention this time why we are showing King Kong on Channel 9 this Saturday at 5 o'clock. Isn't that right?
Yes, I've just learned that there
You
was a
tell them.
petition signed by young men, teenagers and just above, I suppose. 66 sent this to your station requesting King Kong to be shown. Isn't that correct?
Right.
I was very excited about that. I think that that's a very solid interest, and it seems to go on and on.
And so we are granting their request, and this Saturday at 5 on a show that I have something to do with. I won't tell them what. Maybe those that watch it know what I do on the show. Strange Tales of Science Fiction is the name of the show, and we're going to show King Kong on this Saturday at 5 o'clock. Faye, you were working, of course, now in TV and movies still. Have techniques changed much since the days when you made this picture with General Cooper?
Well, of course, this picture was a special one. It was unique. You can't compare it really with anything else. So that's all I can say about that.
You started actually in the movie, but you didn't come from New York. You started right here in the movie business, didn't you?
Yes,
That
I
was your
did. Yes,
First
I was
experience
quite young.
in the entertainment world.
Yes.
Other than the pilgrimage play that you told
That's
me
right.
about.
Well, that was when I was just worked there for the summer when I was about 16, and then I went right into pictures and stayed.
General, how did you happen to find Faye and use her in the movie?
Schoedsack and I made the first picture that combined Africa with Hollywood. When we came to Hollywood, I'd never seen it. Jesse Lasky, who was running Paramount, said he had the most beautiful star in the world for us. And she just made a big hit for von Stroheim, and was a little girl called Faye Wray. This was in Four Feathers. She was beautiful there, and that's why I used her every time afterwards I could.
Would you like to quickly mention what you're involved in now? I believe a TV enterprise. isn't it
Well,
right?
I'm doing 2 or 3 things. I just finished a script which had a rather tragic moment last week. James Warner Bell, who wrote a lot of scripts for Jack Ford and me, did one on World War I aviation. And Paul Mance, I just closed a deal with him to do the flying, to build the planes, and I was a pallbearer at his funeral day before yesterday, so that's going to set me back a little. I'm also doing one on a Western, and which could go as a TV series, and I'm doing, I hope, the life of my old boss. I was chief of staff to Claire Lee Chenault in China in the Flying Tigers, and I'd like to make his life and Anna Chenault's life.
And, of course, Faye, you're constantly working in TV and movies. It's great, both of you who've been in the business so long are still doing creative things and are happily working in it.
Oh, yes, and I think one of the nicest things, too, about our beginning so long ago doing these pictures is that we're still friends.
You remain friends through all the years.
That's right, it's wonderful.
I want to also mention that the General here, with Lowell Thomas, was one of the founders of Cinerama, which
We
is to your
made
credit.
the first Cinerama picture
I
together.
want to show them the original program of King Kong when it opened at Grauman's Chinese Theater. Here's the date, March 24th, 1933, and that's the program the lucky people got when they walked in. And from that, let's go back to our film chain and take a peek at the other few seconds of film showing King Kong himself. Now, in this shot, will we be seeing the little monkey here?
Now,
That's him.
this is this one right here.
That's the one there. Was that a dummy of the Empire State Building?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Why didn't know what you used?
I shot it both real
But-
and dummy. All this stuff is real and dummy. One shot in here is full size. The whole.
This is one of the most exciting scenes in the picture, I think.
This is the first scene I wrote before I wrote the rest of the script.
Well, the Empire State Building had just been built then, hadn't
That's
it?
correct. Well, not just been built. It's been built on a couple of years.
A couple of years,
ago.
though. It was still being talked about everywhere.
The
I imagine.
Empire State Building was going broke when the picture came out. The fellow who managed it told me he had over 20,000 people a day paying $1 a head wanted to see the place where King Kong was shot off.
Isn't that fantastic? And here's the monkey that they used in that particular scene. He's now sort of disintegrated, but you'll see him very healthy, very much alive when we show on Channel 9, because you requested it, on Strange Tales this Saturday at 5 o'clock, King Kong, produced, written, and put together in its entirety by Brigadier General Merian C.
And
Cooper.
Ernest B. Schoedsack, my partner. Don't
Right.
forget him.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to forget him. But he's not here today. Faye Wray, thank you so much
Nice
for
to
coming
be
down.
here.
That's about all we have time for today. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon at 2:30. I hope you'll join me and Stan Richards tonight when we co-host the Antique Auto Show at 7:30. There's some great cars down there I'm sure you're going to enjoy. Stay tuned now for Zolar, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon right here at 2:30 on 9 on the Line. Have a nice evening.